Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys an insane fractal comparing Bitcoin and Ethereum all the way back over the last 10 years of Bitcoin price action. This is really amazing because what it shows is that we're about to see one of the biggest alt runs that we've ever seen in the crypto markets over the next couple months as Ethereum sets up to go on a massive run for itself. During these periods, we see so many different cryptos go up in value. It creates a ton of new opportunities to make a bunch of profit, and we're setting up for that exact same moment of time that only happens once every 4 years. I'm going to be laying out the time frames for you guys and explaining very deeply what to expect, how to make the most profit for yourselves, and what's about to be happening inside the cryptocurrency markets. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 21,000 members and growing. Links are provided for you in the description for the people that want to join my community and sign up. On top of that, if you're new, just getting into these markets and you want extra educational content to make better trading decisions inside the market, links are provided for you in the description to go ahead and check out my free beginner's guide and ebook. With that being said, guys, we've got a lot of really cool information to talk about today. So without further ado, let's jump right into this amazing video. Alrighty guys, now a big topic point that I want to cover for today's video is basically analyzing the July low that we see every single cycle. Now we're going to be looking at it in first with Bitcoin, and then we're going to be tying it up with actually talking about Ethereum, explaining how Ethereum actually fits into these same cycles. And I think it's really going to change your guys' perspective on how the 4-year cycles really are inside of big picture market cycles, and really how accurately these cryptos follow it for whatever reason. Now, this is the big thing that I want to talk to you guys about right off the bat, is analyzing the last 3 that we've seen inside of the Bitcoin cycles. The first one that we ever saw, the first time we ever saw the Bitcoin cycle sync up and start doing these, was right after we had our first halving. So we had the first Bitcoin halving ever all the way back here in late November. And then that's kind of the point in history where I've noticed, at least, where Bitcoin actually does start to follow the 4-year cycle. And I think it's interesting, and one of the reasons why I've always figured it did follow the 4-year cycle is because every 4 years it's actually programmed for Bitcoin to have the Bitcoin halving, right? Where the mining reward gets cut in half every 4 years. It causes a massive supply shock, which is why we see price action like this. The last the halving in 2016 occurred over here, right before the 4th of July in 2016. And then this is what happened to the price over the next year and a half. The last Bitcoin halving happened in May. I think it was like May 8th or May 11th or something like that. And then immediately after, the price goes up into price discovery. So this is something that we've seen happen over and over again. And so it makes sense to me why we see these same 4-year patterns replicated time and time again inside of the crypto cycles. And it's because Bitcoin itself is programmed to do that. And Bitcoin really is kind of the heartbeat of the market. Other altcoins can outperform. Other altcoins, can be a little bit more valuable in their own respect. But Bitcoin itself still always drives the value, still always starts the bull runs. And until that trend actually shifts, we should continue to focus on Bitcoin. Now, guys, what I want to talk to you guys about real quickly is if we analyze really the time frames in between these, and then I'm going to share with you guys what it looks like with Ethereum. So if we analyze the first one that we ever saw, so the way that this actually plays out, it takes place in the first breakout of the all-time high. So this is the previous all-time high. When we get our first breakout into new all-time highs, into price discovery, we ultimately get this mid-cycle sell-off, right? And we go through a few months of consolidation, and our low point before we ultimately start going back up to the blow-off top in the cycle occurs in July. We've seen a bottom in July taking us to the blow-off top every single cycle over the last 4 years, or not over the last 4 years, but every 4 years over each cycle. We saw the same thing happen in 2017. The price action looks different for sure, but in the move in which we broke out of the all-time highs, and then we had our first pullback into price discovery, the exact cycle bottom of that sell-off occurred mid-July. This one was July 5th in 2013. This one was 15th of July 2017. Now, if we compare that to what we've seen in this most recent cycle, The consolidation that we just went through, the very bottom when Bitcoin tapped 29K occurred at the 15th of July. So it's following the same time frames as what we saw in 2017 and what we saw over here in 2013. It's about 10 days in advance of 2013. So we're following roughly those exact same time frames. And what has always happened after our July low is the blow off top. And we saw this here. And in my opinion, what I've always been telling you guys about, we're going to see this right here once again. And so we know that we're approaching these time frames. And I think it's important that, you know, I always talk about this with Bitcoin, but I don't talk about it with the altcoins as much. And that's why I actually wanted to cover it today, talking over Ethereum. Because not only have we seen this with Bitcoin, but we're now seeing it with Ethereum. Ethereum has always synced up with Bitcoin. It always follows the same cycles. This is kind of the way that it's always been. Now we're at this point where we're actually seeing this being repeated over a 4-year time frame, and it's followed it exact. So guys, in the top of this, if we analyze the dates here, I always talk about the 4-year cycles, and I'm going to blow your mind with how identical these things actually are. So if we analyze this July low all the way over to this July low, we're going to get 4 years apart. These two lows are almost exactly 4 years apart. And if we do it again from over here, we analyze this July low from 2017 to the one we just saw, these are almost exactly 4 years apart. Only 1 day off from being exactly 4 years apart. And so what we're seeing here is a 4-year cycle that is repeating, and it's taking place after the breakout of the all-time highs. This was the previous all-time highs. During the first breakout and sell-off, we get our July low, and that's what precedes the all-time high into the blow-off top, right? And we've seen this every single cycle every 4 years. And so this is another pattern I like to share with you guys because it talks about the 4-year cycles. And I think that this is really important to talk about as a whole, mainly just because what we see here is not only, you know, the halvings that repeat over a big time frame like this, but we also see the same thing being repeated in the altcoins as well. So now we're going to talk about it with Ethereum. Now guys, this chart with Ethereum is going to pretty much show the exact same thing I'm talking about with Bitcoin. And we saw this in the first cycle. This was Ethereum's first cycle it ever had. We had a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave impulse, and that completed our first cycle. We ended up having a 94% correction back down, years of consolidation sideways before now running back up into this current cycle that we're in. Now, in the first cycle, what we saw here was this same summer sell-off that occurred. Ethereum rallied up super hard, and then we ended up having that pullback. This one occurred about June, mid-June. And then we had that sell-off. Now, guys, the exact low of this sell-off occurred at about the 15th of July. That was almost the exact cycle low that we saw here for Ethereum. And then we went for one more higher high, some sideways accumulation, and then that's what took us to our blow-off top of that cycle that occurred right exactly in January, right pretty close to the end of the year, right? So this one would have been the first, actually it would have been the beginning of the second week of January. And so that's what I've kind of talked to you guys about, is the potential that we could very easily see a cycle top sometime into January. But what's interesting to me is just how we did the exact same thing in this cycle. Both of these were the first run up into new all-time highs. We had only made one market cycle, and then this was the new breakout that took us to our July low. This is the same thing that happened most recently. We went through years of accumulation. Once Ethereum finally broke out and went into new all-time highs, made a brand new cycle, this was the first sell-off that we saw. And the exact bottom occurred once again here in mid-July. And so this is the same thing that we're seeing each and every cycle. If we draw the date tool, this is going to be 1,464 days. 4 years is 1,460 days. So this is almost exactly 4 years apart from each other. And they're both happening at the exact same moment of time in their cycles. This was the three-wave correction. And if I take it to a log chart, you guys will understand what I'm actually talking about. If we draw the Elliott waves here, this was wave 1, this was wave 3 and wave 4, and then this was wave 5. That was the Ethereum cycle. Now, if we compare that to what we're seeing today, it's pretty much the same thing. We've seen wave 1, wave 3, and then wave 4. The exact bottom of wave 4 is the July low, and we've seen that in each cycle. And so literally all we're getting ready for now is the blow off top of this cycle. This is the point where we're about to finally see the blow off top, right? And so this is kind of something that I've been waiting for a long time. I know you guys have been waiting for a long time, and it's finally about to happen. And this is how I believe it's actually going to be playing out. And I've already gone ahead and pretty much overlaid what we saw in 2017 over this chart. And I'm going to go through here and kind of explain why I overlaid this. So guys, a lot of people have been freaking out, wondering, where we're at in this cycle. A lot of people have been saying, this cycle is going to be lasting a lot longer. It's going way into 2022. And I think it's silly because where we're at today is literally the same as where we're at in 2017. And if I draw a resistance line, let's remove these Elliott waves real quick. Let's draw a resistance line over the top of the most recent high. And let's analyze the blow off top that we saw here. So this is going to be our resistance. Now guys, if you notice, when we first broke the all-time highs and we were sitting above them, about to go into our final move, where was this time frame? This was the end of November and the beginning of December. In fact, we didn't even we actually didn't even run up really hard until about the second week of December is when we finally got this green candle that started breaking out again. So we were already at December 9th before we started even going back up into this final blow off top. Now, if you guys compare where we're at today, it's basically the exact same, like literally almost no different here. What we have, if we remove the Elliott waves, if we draw a resistance here, draw a line, let's actually move this for a second. We're literally at this exact same point. This is the same chart. If I drew a red line right here, this chart, the black one right here, this is showing Ethereum consolidating above the previous all-time high. This is almost no different than what we're seeing today. And we're at the exact same time frames. This is just at the end of November, the beginning of December, which is, once again, guys, exactly where Ethereum was in the last cycle 4 years ago. And so everybody's been talking about how the cycles are lengthening. Everybody's been talking about how the cycles are going to run way longer than I'm thinking, and that I'm wrong for thinking it's going to be topping at the end of the year. But when we literally just take the time to just look very basically at what is played out in the last cycle compared to what we see today, we're at the exact same moment of time, exact same. Where Ethereum was exactly 4 years ago was it was consolidating above its previous all-time high right after our July low bottom, and we were about to get our final run-up in the cycle. Where are we at today? Well, the exact same moment of time. And if we just go right here and put the chart over it, this is literally what is about to be created. And so how I have this chart drawn, notice how this comes all the way up until the end of January. This is the thing about 4-year cycles, guys, is there's zones. You can never know exactly when the exact peak day of the cycle is going to be. And if we follow what we did in 2017, we peaked, January 10th for Ethereum. So what's to say we can't peak, the end of January or January 10th or January 15th or January 20th. Who knows exactly what the heck the day is going to be, but I don't really care because this is ultimately what's going to be happening. I do believe that we're going to get a run up to 10K in the next move. From there, we most likely see a pullback. It'll probably be like this where we come all the way back down to retest like 5K. It freaks everybody out because the market will move like this. Boom. Boom, and it'll retest the previous highs before going back up again, right? This is what happens in a parabolic market. And so you should expect to see a lot of volatility as we get closer towards the end of the year. Like I've always stated forever and ever and always will, the end of the year will be the projected cycle top. It's not going to magically lengthen way, way, way farther in advance in 2022. If it does lengthen, it'll be like this, like at the end of January. It's not going to be some crazy, elongated move into some amazing super cycle. Like that's not going to happen. The 4-year time frames are going to line up because they always have, and they still are. Exactly 4 years ago today, if we're following the 4-year cycle time frames, if we drew a line exactly 4 years ago in December 2nd, that's literally right here, right at the breakout of the previous all-time high before the blow off top at the end of the year. If you literally look at where we're at today, we're at the exact same moment of time in history, no different. We have just broken the all-time highs, and we're about to get the blow off top at the end of the year. There's nothing any different. Focus on the big picture. Hold through this big pump because we're going to make a lot of money. I wanted to give you guys this update as a way to kind of summarize why I'm still very confident on the 4-year cycle. I made a tweet and I basically said something along the lines of, if the market doesn't look parabolic by the time I've been projected to sell, I'm going to hold until the price action lines up along with my time frames, right? And that's kind of what the point that I was trying to make here. I still believe we're going to get this type of a move. And so if the market isn't quite at that point, if we're, like I said, right here, and then my time frames are saying, it's time to sell and we're just barely breaking out, I'm not going to sell. I'm going to hold and wait for the breakout. The PA has to line up with the time frames. But if the time frames in the PA slightly differ, if the time frames, if the price action does something like this where we go up until the end of January, there will be a slight bit of variance. But I mean, guys, I've been calling for these time frames since we were all the way back down here at the exact cycle low before we even had the COVID sell-off, right? I've been calling for this exact moment of time in which I was going to sell. And so if I'm this big of a difference, that little tiny bit of a difference off in my time frames, like, who really cares? I don't, because I'm going to be selling close enough to the cycle top. But this is literally what I believe is going to happen in the market. We've seen this replicated on a number of, where is it? It's over here somewhere. We've seen this replicated on a number of cycles inside of Bitcoin. This is something I've always tried to make the point of when I talk about this big picture stuff, because we've seen this happen every single time. This was the July low over here. We've seen a July low every single cycle inside of Bitcoin. And so now for today's video, I literally just wanted to share with you guys how it's actually happening with Ethereum as well. Not only did we get a July low that preceded the blow off top in 2017, but we're literally getting the exact same thing playing out again in this cycle. And so for the people that are saying, nope, it's time to hold way into 2022, this thing's going to go forever, you're going to end up, not taking profits. You're going to end up holding in the bear market and getting screwed. Stick to the end of the year timeframes, guys. I'm telling you right now, they're going to be really accurate. It's going to surprise a lot of people, but I'm really excited because I've had this plan for a long time. I felt really convicted that this is what was going to end up playing out. And so this is what I think is going to be playing out. If I'm wrong, that sucks. If I'm right, it's going to be pretty cool over the next couple months when we do get this type of a move and we make this type of a return. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. If you guys like what you see here, you want to learn more, you guys want to download my free ebook, join my Discord community, links are in the description for that. You guys can also sign up for my VIP. If you guys want to follow the trades that I take, most importantly, what I'm doing at the end of the year, how I'm taking profits, where I'm diversifying profits into stocks, commodities, basically anything that I do with my money, all of that's going to get taught to you guys inside my private Discord server. If you guys want to join that, or maybe you guys are looking for a trading course that's just going to teach you guys the basics of TA, links are in the description for that. You guys can go ahead and sign up on my website. Thank you all so much for the support. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you guys inside of that group, free or paid. Thank you guys so much for watching, and with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.